Alright, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome to WWE Monday Night Raw review from March 14th, 2016. Ladies and gentlemen, just to give you my overall opinion before I start the whole thing, I have to say one thing. The show had its good, but majority of it, action-wise, it sucked. There was nothing really all that entertaining and fun to talk about with this show. Nothing really stood out, really, to be honest with you guys. I was not really all that impressed with this show. It was not that big of a deal. I mean, you wouldn't really lose much from not watching the show. But there was one specific match that I thought was very, very interesting, fun to watch, and entertaining. I will get into that as we move forward with this review. But overall, I mean, if you watch the promos, they were fun to watch. A few other things here and there it was good, and so forth. But without a further ado, let's get into the show, shall we? So, we go about, the New Day show up. They're the first ones to start the show. They talk about booty cereal and shit like that, acting really goofy and stupid. The fans are actually chanting New Day rocks now. They're starting to get behind New Day, and they become faces, pretty much, I guess you could say. And they faced the League of Nations in a rematch with the tag titles on the line, only this time it was with Rusev and Del Rio. Not that this was a big deal. It pretty much was very similar to Roadblock's tag team title match. It was alright. It wasn't that bad of a match, but it didn't really... at the end of the day, it didn't really bring any kind of intrigue outside of setting up a match for another tag team championship match. Only this time making things a little bit interesting, where there's a free bird rule in the tag team title match at WrestleMania. So I'm not actually disappointed by the idea that they had this rematch, because it actually led to something. A free bird match, I don't think it really has happened in a very, very, very long time, since the 80s. So I think that was kind of a neat idea WWE went with on this situation. So I'm not too upset with them having a rematch again and redoing the same thing, because it did lead to something a little bit different and it had a purpose. So I kind of like the idea that they did this in a sense. Not bad. They actually did the Rusev and the gang of League of Assholes beat the shit out of the New Day at the end of the day when the match was over. We then get back on the show. We have Dean Ambrose come down. He does his spiel about what happened at Roadblock. Very good match. If you haven't seen it, I definitely would watch it. Unfortunately, spoiler alert, if you don't want to hear it, you may want to skip over this portion of the video. Triple H does end up retaining the championship, of course. If you have, then you know what I mean. But I'd still go back and watch it again. It was a really good match, despite the fact that Triple H retained the championship. So pretty much Dean Ambrose said, hey, you know what? You may retain the title, but you definitely didn't walk away looking like a winner. On top of that, you found out what kind of guy I am, and you shouldn't have taken me lightly, and that's why you ended up the way you did. So, hey, you know what? Have some respect for me, motherfucker, kind of attitude. Brock Lesnar's music hits. We get him coming out with Paul Heyman. And this, as usual, Paul Heyman saying pretty much the same thing he always says about how Brock Lesnar is the conqueror. He's an ass kicker. He fair warns Dean Ambrose and tells him, hey, you know what? You may want to reconsider having this match, because for God's sakes, he's literally beating your ass every time you guys have had a confrontation. So why would you want to go through the humiliation of doing that again? Pretty much. And Dean Ambrose antagonizes Brock Lesnar to come down to the ring and have a one-on-one confrontational physicality with one another. And Brock Lesnar, as usual, accepts, walks down to the ring, and then Dean Ambrose pulls out a crowbar, which is finally something intelligent on his part. You're heading into a match at WrestleMania, a no-holds-barred match. Why not use a weapon against a guy like Brock Lesnar's stature? I mean, it's a perfect idea. It evens the odds a little bit more in your favor. So, I mean, it's a really good idea and smart, storytelling there to throw that in there at least. I guess you could say that would be Dean Ambrose's trademark weapon? Maybe? Who knows? Or maybe just a one-time only thing to use it for leading into WrestleMania with Brock Lesnar. But it's a nice, decent segment. It wasn't all that bad. It definitely left you thinking, hey, maybe the momentum's shifting over to Dean Ambrose's side, or at least he's got some sort of chance against Brock Lesnar. Ryback faces Sin Cara. Who the fuck cares? This match absolutely fucking sucked. Didn't last all that long. And Ryback defeated Sin Cara. After the match, the big guy, Ryback, challenges Kalisto for the United States Championship for WrestleMania. Not that we get a response out of that. From there, we also had Stephanie McMahon and Triple H have their promo segment. And they had, talked about how Triple H conquered Dean Ambrose, and basically, in a sense, responding back to what Dean Ambrose said on his portion of his promo and everything else. Pretty much, this was alright. I mean, it was just, your standard, ordinary, hyping up Triple H, making him like he's the best champion in the world kind of thing. And they go on about, and Triple H goes on about how, the audience is, they accept what they have, but they just bitch and moan. They always blame the authority, but it really should be themselves they blame. They bitch and moan about their jobs, and yet they do nothing about it to change it. They have a wife and kids, and they can't stomach their wife after a while, and their kids, and then a couple of years later pass on, and they come home from their job, and they're in their apartment because they got divorced and they lost their kids, and their wife has the house. Kind of situation, which I think was kind of idiotic, because a lot of wrestlers end up with that same exact scenario, and they're not even, normal average Joe people. I mean, Randy Savage, Hulk Hogan, Randy Orton, John Cena. I mean, yeah, John Cena and some of the names I mentioned, they didn't end up in an apartment or something, but I'm certain they lost some money because of alimony from their wives. So I definitely didn't quite find that to be extremely accurate or even worth mentioning, to be honest with you, on Triple H's part, but whatever. Dolph Ziggler interferes with this promo and interrupts it, basically, because at this point it was just getting downright fucking ridiculous. And Dolph Ziggler comes down the ring, looks face to face at Stephanie and Triple H, and says, basically in a sense points out that he wants a match at WrestleMania. And he don't care what he has to do that. He's got nothing to lose. He's been constantly threatened of his job and his job security and so forth. At this point, he really wouldn't give a damn, but he would love the opportunity to wrestle at WrestleMania. And Stephanie goes, okay, you got one match to be able to be at WrestleMania, doing whatever the hell you want to do. You could have any opponent except for Triple H for the World Championship. You beat him, you beat this opponent, you win your match, you go on to WrestleMania. He goes, oh, okay, so what you're going to tell me is I'm going to compete against 1 against 3 or 10 against 1 or 20 against 1 or the whole roster basically with one arm tied behind my back. I don't give a damn. Blah, 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 blah. So forth and so forth and so on. And Stephanie just looks at him and goes, no, it's just one-on-one. You versus Triple H. You beat Triple H in a singles match with the title not on the line, you go on to WrestleMania and have whatever match you want. I thought that was fucking awesome. And really it was a smart move on their part to do that. Simply because of the fact that I'm pretty sure it kind of grabbed enough, maybe like some ratings there for leading into the Raw episode, so that might have done some good for them in the last hour. I think that's really what they were trying to go for. Sami Zayn had a match with The Miz. Who the fuck cares? Miz thankfully loses to Sami Zayn thanks to Kevin Owens interfering in this match. Kind of leans towards the idea that Kevin Owens is going to start accumulating a bunch of rivals leading into a multi-man ladder match for the Intercontinental title. Unfortunately, was kind of hoping to see a Sami Zayn versus Kevin Owens match one-on-one, but the multi-man match might not be a bad idea, and you could always just have Sami Zayn and Kevin Owens go at it in the next pay-per-view after WrestleMania. So that all depends on what they want to do. But I was happy Sami Zayn picked up the victory and not The Miz. Oh, God, that would be horrible. Then we had Brie Bella and Alicia Fox versus Team Bad. Who gives a fuck? Not even talking about this. This is pointless and waste of time of the video. We had Lana also get involved with this shit. And who gives a fuck? Usos versus Bo Dallas and Adam Rose. Really? You're gonna waste our fucking time with this shit? No thanks, I ain't talking about it. The Dudley Boys were having a stare down with the Usos. Big fucking whoop-de-doo on that crap. We also had a segment with Dean Ambrose and Mick Foley facing each other in a locker room, and they had a discussion about, old days of Mick Foley in the Hell in a Cell against Undertaker at King of the Ring of '98. Asking him, were you worried or fearful of what was going to happen? And he goes, yeah, of course I was. I was fearful. It was The Undertaker, Hell in a Cell, one of the most demonic structures ever created outside of Elimination Chamber. I'm just adding that in there. But, yeah, overall, he's basically saying he was scared, but he's Mick Foley. That's what he did. He went ahead and faced fearful events and embraced it and just fought through it, either win or loss. And Dean Ambrose, he pretty much says, I got a crowbar here, blah, blah, blah. And so I didn't pay too much attention to the promo. I was kind of just looking through things on my cell phone and other stuff. But I kind of got the gist of it. Not bad, and it was pretty cool to listen to. Triple H versus Dolph Ziggler. This was in the last hour. Very awesome fucking match. Worth every moment. Wish the match would have gone on a little bit longer. I enjoyed every second of this match. Back and forth action. Just as good as Dean Ambrose. I swear to God, if Dolph Ziggler can have a great match and Dean Ambrose can have a great match with Triple H, why the fuck is Roman Reigns getting a shot for the World Championship? This is just fucking sad and pathetic. These two guys bust their ass and bust their hump with Triple H and had a great match, and yet they can't get a main event opportunity, but Roman Reigns is. Get the fuck out of here. Match ends, though. Triple H hits the pedigree. Very good action, though. Back and forth. You didn't know who was going to really win. But at the end of the day, Triple H hits the pedigree. Dolph Ziggler actually landed very neat, I guess. He kind of landed the old school way of landing. He kind of landed on his knee and went face first into the mat on top of it and just kind of collapsed. I thought that was kind of cool, the way he landed and finished out the pedigree. After the match ended, Roman Reigns did come up and show up on the stage. Music hits with a fucking shitload of boos. Boo City it was. That fucking Pittsburgh crowd ate him alive. And not surprising though, because they ate him alive, I believe, last year at the Royal Rumble. Nobody fucking likes this guy. Just little girls and women and small kids like Roman Reigns. I also think I heard a kid say that he likes Roman Reigns more than Daniel Bryan during their little segment portion of talking about helping kids like Colin did, what Colin had once before until he passed on from the world, and I pray that he's up in heaven and God bless him. Nice little kid. I wish he'd still be here today. Feel sorry for his family and the loss and tragedy that they had. But moving on from the negativity and sadness and onto what we are talking about here. Roman Reigns, he comes out, he beats the shit out of fucking, beats the crap out of Triple H all over the place. A lot of intensity. He showed a lot of emotion. He actually showed he has somewhat of a personality. The personality of a heel. He was so fucking infuriated, full of anger, full of hatred. That is a heel, man. He needs to be a heel. He's perfect for the heel role until the audience gets behind him and start liking him. Why are they so afraid to pull this trigger? What is so horrible about Roman Reigns being their top guy as a heel? Who the fuck cares? Get this guy over, and this is the way to do it. This guy looked fucking awesome the way he beat the shit out of Triple H with with all the objects he picked up. He smashed Triple H's face into the fucking announce table 100 times. I mean, this was outrageous. It was fucking insane. Triple H was bleeding on the side of his head. I don't know if it was a blood pack or a real cut. But either way, man, it looked fucking great for Roman Reigns. Yet the fans were booing him, and it's because he's being looked at as a fucking face. He needs to be a heel. If he was a heel and that situation happened, it would have been genuine. It would have made sense. None of this makes any fucking sense. You're having a man that's fucking kicking Triple H's ass. He's supposed to be the heel Triple H, and instead he's getting the sympathy from the crowd. What the fuck is going on here? Is this backwards land? Get the fuck out of here. Make him a fucking heel, Vince, and you got your damn guy. Get the hell out of here, you fucking mental case. Embrace the damn bastard as a heel and shake his fucking hand and do what you did with The Rock, you dumb asshole. Sorry about the rant, but I had to let that out. I mean, come on, that was perfect setup, perfect, scenario of what a heel does. And that's what he fucking did. And the fucking audience booed the shit out of him. Why couldn't you see that this guy belongs as a heel? God, what a bunch of fucking idiots. Really, idiotic. They also mentioned Jacqueline gets in the Hall of Fame. Congratulations for her. Goldust and R-Truth. Where are they going with this shit? I really don't even understand what the hell the point is of this. 1 minute, Goldust is trying to get R-Truth to become his friend, become his partner and friend, and then at some point they reached a point where R-Truth had sympathy towards Goldust because Goldust was really trying hard to be partners and friends with R-Truth. So they did a role reversal. Now the last 2 or 3 weeks, R-Truth is kissing Goldust's ass to become partners, and he's acting as a Penguin because they're in Pittsburgh, of course, for the Pittsburgh Penguins. Really stupid. I don't quite understand any of it. It goes nowhere. It makes no sense. Jericho comes out. He announces his frustration towards the crowd, playing the role as a heel very well. Kind of a little ass backwards, I think. I mean, it's just a little insane that he goes from being liked for a couple of months, now he's being hated, but you know what? I mean, that's just the role they have to put him in, and he works well with with the heel role at this point. I mean, the face role for him, I guess, isn't really all that necessary anymore. Now that he's, kind of, not saying he's over the hill, but he's actually, pretty much at the end of his career where he doesn't really need any more heavy duty accolades. Put him up against some good talent and make the talent that he's working up against the face and him the heel. I guess you could say he's a grouchy old man as a wrestler, But yeah, Jericho and Neville. Why didn't this match get any more airtime? This match was short as shit. They fucking ended this match by a DQ in the weirdest way because Jericho put his hands on the referee because he was frustrated? Come on, man. This is fucking bullshit. This match could have caught a lot of people's attention. It would have hogged up a lot of time. You could have taken quite a few of these matches off. Let's say, the Usos and the fucking, and the social out pukes, just making fun of it and making a funny name and what have you. The Team Bad and Brie Bella and Alicia Fox. I mean, you could have taken some of these meaningless matches out and made this like a 10 to 20 minute match. Made it like fucking less than 5 minutes. I don't even think it was worth 3 minutes, to be honest, based on how long it was. But yeah, Neville defeats Jericho in a shitty fashion, so who the fuck cares? Jericho grabs the microphone, starts sounding angry, blames the fans for, his turn as a heel, and cheering for AJ Styles, and they kept cheering for AJ Styles afterwards. AJ Styles then came out and did a Superman forearm punch, I guess you could say. They call it the Phenomenal Forearm to Jericho. And that's pretty much it. Jericho Styles stands above him, taunting him and saying, hey, I'll see you at WrestleMania, kind of bullshit. Alright, then the last segment is Vincent McMahon, Shane McMahon, and The Undertaker. This I don't quite understand. Shane McMahon botched his line, I think. He kind of fucked up what he was saying. I think he was saying, like, he's gonna go ahead, throw a punch, and counter his own punch, in a sense. I think he really botched up and chopped up what he was saying the wrong way. And the audience caught on to it and went ahead and noticed it, and kind of, you could hear them acknowledging the screw up there. So, I mean, he pretty much kind of plays a psychological game with The Undertaker, and The Undertaker, basically him saying that he's Undertaker's bitch, or saying that Undertaker is Vincent McMahon's bitch, and that Undertaker's the puppet to Vincent McMahon, so forth, and you get the idea. But I mean, it was very awkward. This whole situation is kind of awkward. Undertaker doesn't seem to be... He's playing the face character, but he's playing it where he's kind of like being controlled, but not being controlled. He's attacking the guy that picked him. He's also, I don't quite understand Undertaker's, stand behind any of this. You would think that he would have Shane, he would pretty much stand towards Shane, not Vince McMahon, because, let's be honest, Undertaker isn't really that much of a ally or a friend, or really values Vince McMahon's way of doing things, so it kind of just leaves you scratching your head a little bit, I guess. But overall, the segment was okay, I guess you could say. Vince McMahon threw his son to the wolves, as fucking Michael Cole would put it. My God, would that motherfucker just hang it up already? He sucks. Get Mauro Ranallo on the announce team. Which, by the way, just as a side note, I did read an article today that mentions that there is a possibility that Ranallo Mario Ranallo will get a spot on WrestleMania with Jerry Lawler and do a split between Monday Night Raw's announced team with Michael Cole and JBL and Jerry Lawler and Mauro Ranallo's announced team for SmackDown, which kind of leaves you thinking, are they going to have another brand split again? And this soon, when their talent is just fucking shit to Shinola at this point? God help us all. Okay, so with all that being said, I mean, pretty much my opinion, the show was alright. It wasn't great. I guess you could say if the matches would have been better, I would have been able to say that this was a good show. But because of the matches not having, there wasn't any decent matches really all that much except for Triple H and Dolph Ziggler. And the New Day's tag team title match against Rusev and Del Rio, the whole thing just pretty much was meaningless, really, to be honest. So, I mean, I really ain't got much more to say about this event. But if you guys want to leave your comments and opinions down below, definitely, I'd love to hear from you guys. I'll always respond back to you guys on that. And let the smack it down to that subscribe button, you know what I mean? Anyway, at this time, thank you very much for watching. Hope you enjoyed the video, and have a great night, guys. Bye.